Hello and welcome to Sofa Health Talks. I'm your host, Liana Shangalaya. My podcast will cover all the topics about health, wellness, beauty, and arts that are essential to our health and well-being. My aim through this podcast is to empower, inspire, and inform the listeners with science-backed information. Our topic today will be about empowering health at workplace. First, I would like to share with you the definition of a healthy job. A healthy job is likely to be one where the pressures on employees are appropriate in relation to their abilities and resources, to the amount of control they have over their work, and to support they receive from people who matter to them. As health is not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, but a complete positive state of mental, social, and physical well-being. A healthy workplace environment improves productivity and reduces costs related to absenteeism, turnover, workers' compensation, and a medical claim. Today will be joining us Sabrina Runbeck, peak performance speaker, motivational speaker, and a PA in cardiovascular surgery. So, hi Sabrina, welcome to Sofa Health Talks episode 8. Our today's topic will be about healthy job and empowering health and well-being at workplace. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I am a heart and lung surgery PA with more than 10 years background in public health and neuroscience. I became a peak performance consultant and speaker because a few years ago, I remember it was hardly 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm already exhausted because I was on call again. Now, all of you guys who remember those beeper, right? That's big block just keep going off. And I also woke up with a 101 degree fever. Now my body feels weak and my hands start cramping and just nothing really feels good at the point. Those wouldn't have been so bad, except that I was standing in front of a patient with my hands inside his chest for open heart surgery. And my scrub nurses now know, like, I'm just typically chatting, talking, even throughout cases, interact with people. And I was pretty much the entire energy just down. I'm staring at the field, just doing the work because I don't know how long would I have last. Since typically a big open heart surgery takes at least 4 or 5 hours to get through. And yeah, so that really is the beginning where I realized I just been pushing it. Just like any other young professional out there, you feel like you need to build your CV, you need to work hard to get to a certain point, but then we take a toll on our body. And the next morning when I really couldn't get out of bed, I had to call out sick. My boss responded, Sabrina, you couldn't tell me this sooner? I felt instantly frustrated and feeling so unappreciated.
Yeah, basically, you've experienced burnout. You exceeded your limitations. Communication is the key with your colleagues and, of course, with your boss and whoever is in charge. Employers should also take into consideration the work environment. So, you have 3 simple steps to overcome stress and empower well-being among healthcare professionals. Can you share with us what are these 3 simple steps?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I believe that at the end of the day, we don't mind hard working. We don't mind even the stress part, but we just wanted to get to that next level where we feel successful, fulfilled, purposeful, and not having go through that emotional roller coaster. Even we get a raise or get an award, the accolade, think about it. How long did it last in your life? Maybe days, hours, and that's about it. And then we kind of crash base down to where we were before because we have these sabotagers in our system. So the simple 3-step really is number 1, redefine your motivation. Now, all of us went into medicine for a reason or into your any specialty you got because we have that drive, that initial excitement. What was that for you at that time?
Exactly.
And can we bring that excitement back now? And what do you want? This is a key question. most people will always ask when we are younger, what do you want to do when you grow up? Right? But it's kind of an unfair question. How will we know when we haven't really experienced the career or talked to enough people to see it? The ideal question should have been, what's that lifestyle you really want to have? And then we have a North Star to guide us, and we can reverse engineer that path. Just like, every single specialty runs differently. Some need to be on call. Some have to run on the weekend. Some you can be really set schedule and not having emergency cases. And some has bigger team. Therefore, even you have to do all the other things, it's not so much on you. So if we don't even know what our life that we want it, how can we really create something that we align into our value, how we want to show up, what our drives are?
Yeah, as I understood, first you need to find out when you first decided this profession, what drove you to decide it, right? And
right, so that's
how
number
you
one.
envisioned your life. So as
Right.
I've understood, you have to go back to and what would motivate you.
Correct. Once we do that, it's also a continuum. We don't just self-reflect one time and it's done with.
Yeah.
And that's why for anybody who work with me to want to become that peak performer, and we do 100-question deep dive into all 10 components of your life to see which one can we leverage on, but which ones are actually your silent killers that prevent you from that harmony in between your work and life. And now that reflection part will help us in a consistent basis. And as we go on, like one of the best tools that my client have told me is that I create this weekly burnout prevention alignment worksheet where they can really figure out what are the things they truly have to do that become non-negotiable versus things that are good to do, because the rest of them are just distractions. And so that's really our first step, knowing who we are, how we want to show up, what our goals are, how we want to live before moving on to the second, third step. And so our second step is to reboot our mental immunity. And we know physical fitness is great and we need to build those muscles, keep us fit, eat right? Many different components, gut healthy. Our brain also need to have mental fitness. It's just like physical fitness because there are sabotaging behaviors. Now, one my professor in Stanford, he searched that every one negative experience, take at least 3 positive ones to overcome them. So we have to continue to pivot and pull ourselves out of that negativity, right? As we know, psychology saying that mental chatter are these billions of thoughts, 40 to 80 of thousand millions of them that are in our brain every day. If we allow them to continue bombard ourselves and instead of calm our brain, reboot, pivot, then we constantly being dragged down. When we distracted, checking multiple emails, 10,000 browsers opening, grabbing your phone, right? And it's not a great way to really reset. So identifying the sabotaging tendencies, and there are 9 of them. And typically we wanted to see what are the top 3 that we lean on. Is that judgment, controlling, avoiding the pain, always wanted to be a pleaser for other. And then once we're recognizing them quicker, we can then put ourselves into a position to respond, be resourceful, instead of just simply, oh my goodness, like, I don't know what to do now. And let me just do whatever I can do to fix it, or get trapped being that frustrated mode.
Yeah, you have to concentrate on positive things. However, this is kind of difficult for many people because we're programmed to focus on negatives and we forget the positives.
Right. And it's not just about positivity. Even people who do these gratitude journals every day or remind themselves one good thing, those are great. I totally encourage people to do that. However, just doing that is not enough, because when we're facing these difficulty things that are unpredicted, just being focused on the gratitude we're still being upset. We still are angry about the things that we're not happy about.
Mhm.
What we have to do is the mental fitness exercise. Those exercises are incorporating breathing, visualization, highlighting one of your senses. Now we intentionally redirect our thinking to something that we can actually focus on. And that's how we calm ourselves. And then before we're ready to move on to the next task, I ask everyone to think one word on how you want to show up for the next thing. Or even in the argument that you just had a disagreement with your colleagues about a patient planning, or you are having a difficulty at home, if you quickly bring yourself to a better state, and then you can see, oh, if I just wanted to be more approachable, then I now put myself in the state of being approachable. I already preset that behavior, and therefore how I'm going to show up is different than if I have no plan for how I want to show up. And then of course my brain gonna think, what, fight and flight, let me just do whatever you need to do. And
That's when cortisol levels increase, and yeah, people, they just lose control, and mentally they get distressed. Definitely breathing is the key, the right way of breathing, inhaling shorter and exhaling longer. So it's great, it's amazing if everyone could manage at least few minutes per day to do breathing exercises. Do you provide
yes,
mental fitness exercises?
right. We can, if we have time, we can do an exercise together on the show. But I do offer your audience a free exercise that you can download, and you can go to sabrinarunbeck.com/energy. Truly under 2 minutes, whether you're at home, in your office, outside, we wanted to notice where our body is, right? Posture has a lot to do with confidence, stress. Just like when we're sleeping, the infancy, that's comfort level, right? Crowded in a bowl, versus if we actually sit up, right? Relax your shoulders.
Yeah. So
When you're ready for this exercise, you wanted to either sit or stand with your shoulder dropped, spine aligned, which means you feel like there's a balloon on top of your head. Just simply lift you right up and wiggle your toes. Make sure it's completely flat on the ground. You feel that sense of security. And if you can, close your eyes. And now we're going to take 2 really quick breath in. 1, 2, and breathe out on count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
mouth
1.
open, right? Sorry.
You can do it with mouth open or closed. If you think about a yoga breath, it's almost like this humming sound in the back of your throat. It's this really deep breath humming in your throat and through your nose. And you just wanted to concentrate on the sensation when the air go in and out your nostril. And you can do this twice in the beginning before you allow your breath to go back into the normal rhythm. And then we're going to put 2 fingers together and just simply concentrate on the sensation of touch. Whether you have a smooth nail and your hands are warm or cold, is it dry or moist? You concentrate only on the sensation of touch. And any other thought that come to you, no matter how important you think they are, let them flow right by you like the wind. And you're going to forgive yourself when a new thought start to pop into your head. We are only concentrating on the sensation of touch of each of your fingers, how smooth, how nice they are. Again, just forgive yourself for all the other thoughts that's not pertinent to the current moment. And before you're ready, I want you to think about that one word on how you want to show up for the next thing. whether it's continue on listening to this podcast, you want to be open, you just are curious, or after this podcast, the next task you want to do, how do you want it to show up then? Mm-hmm. Once you have that word in your mind, and you can go ahead, open your eyes.
So I'm sure now, listeners enjoyed. It's very relaxing.
We're also intentional about not allowing ourselves being trapped by all these tasks we feel like we have to do. Mm-hmm. We gave ourselves that grace of just changing our thought system to highlight one of our senses, right? We focus on touch today. And the exercise download that you have is going to also help you with your vision, because we're staring at a computer so much, especially during the pandemic, and our eyes got fatigued. So that exercise will help.
Now, it's amazing.
Yes, exactly. Also, give yourself that time, just like, okay, let's just do a quick reset. 2 minutes out of your day is nothing. You're probably scrolling on your phone for more than 2 minutes and getting even more exhausted.
Exactly, right? So this is quite helpful, and I hope the listeners will do it, will practice it after listening to our podcast. Next question is about, you have this slogan, work smarter, not harder. So how achievable is that, to work smarter and not harder? Especially
right. So many people will want to say, oh, I just don't want to work harder, because purely working hard is not going to serve you. We're going to get trapped into being busy, like busyness is a badge of honor, but it's actually being so distracted for things. So when I talk about, it's also what's called, if you anybody have known Michael Hyatt, the freedom compass. What that means is, how can we identify, right? Going back to my step one, which is redefine your motivation, is also knowing what is your passion and what are the things that you're really good at. So with my clients, we do this writing exercise where I guide them through, so we can identify these different areas and figure out which areas now you have been able to tap into these skills that you're good at and you're passionate about, and which ones are you're maybe only good at but not passionate about, or passionate about but not good at. So if it's not both, then the rest are distractions. And especially if the things you feel like you have to do is not your passion and you're not good at, you should be completely eliminating them and delegate them out, because they're not going to serve you and they're going to cause frustration. So it's not just about smart working, it's about doing things in the right way and right order. I can say, I'm Asian. I'm so proud, actually, that diligent part, the hardworking part, right? It get me into where we are right now. But I'm also a really proud rebel, because I rebel against the negativities. I rebel against the naysayers who tell me, oh, you can't do that, right? Who are you to say I could or could not do something? When you're not in my shoes, you don't have the resource that I do have. You don't have the connections. So when we show up and really clear on who we are, where we want to go, then we can easily repel these things. And then when we tap into our second step of building our mental immunity, then we no longer are criticizing ourselves or judging ourselves. And then the last really step about working smarter is we continuously have to refocus and knowing what productivity means, because everyone has a different energy cycle. When it's not even just about how long you're sleeping, it's about the duration of your sleep cycle. It's not even about how long you have to be able to quickly run through many patients. It's on how efficient is this conversation. Even you can have a 10 minutes conversation that people just get you, or you can talk for a half hour and it's dragging on, it's not concise, and people start get lost in what they need to do. So knowing your productivity, knowing your attention span, and when we are able to dive that in and define it for you, and then of course we can then tap into the strategies of productivity and not just feeling like, oh, just tell me what to do, I need to have more time. No, we just need to have more focused time on the things that need to do to move the needle and do more what you love to do, and less time on the mundane things that you're not passionate about or you're not efficient at.
Mm-hmm. I see. So it is very important to find your passion and do what you love. Of course, it would lead to success. How can you define success? What is success to you?
My version of success is going to be different from everyone. So I do encourage everybody to write your own statement of success, because that's the same statement that will guide you into life. Mm-hmm. My success is simply I can connect with 10,000 young professionals, especially those in healthcare, for them to find their own voice and become that influential figure in our organization, so they cannot afford to lose you. Mm-hmm. And then you can truly feel free from the overwhelm, underappreciate, or undervalue, truly live up, right? We can totally be both a powerhouse in our career and a passionate person in life with a specific strategy.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We need to speak out and make a difference. It's just simple. We just have to be more rebellious and, be confident. We have to believe in ourselves. That's important. I think many people might relate. I have many passions since childhood. How possible is to manage time and prevent burnout?
I think you hit it right on the nail that many people have too many things they want to do.
It is stressful somehow to manage time.
So when we talk about an equation of making these difficult decisions, the 5 input you have to think about, what I call time, is number 1 is time. How much time you have to invest in something to give you a result. Number 2, intrinsic value. How is that going to align with what you want to do in life? Is that going to match with your future vision of how you want to live your lifestyle? And number 3, how much energy now you have to spend on this? If you devote a lot of time and energy, right, is that going to be proportional for the output?
I see.
And then it's money. How much investment or losing, right? We invest in ourselves, that's great. Investing in our business. Is that investment gonna give you a bigger outcome, or simply investment that put yourself in debt? And then lastly, most people don't think about is sanity. Is that going to really bring your joy, or even this passion can turn into a poison if you're doing too much of it and you start losing what the end goal is, or start draining your own precious time and energy, right? So all that stuff. These are 5 inputs for any thing that you're talking about. So
I think it's important for well-being to also do something else, whatever you enjoy. Yeah, you can do your job, whatever you think you're really good at it. And if you find passion in your profession, that's great. Yeah, it's just many people don't enjoy their jobs. So it's great what you do, empowering people at their workplace to enjoy and to find a motivation to be more motivated at work. And this is, I think, very important for everyone, not only for healthcare professionals.
Right. And definitely for sure, time management is actually self-management, knowing these different components we just talked about, right? These time, money, intrinsic value, investment, sanity. You have to almost write everything down of each task, each project, and then give yourself a score for each of them. Now you know where you're at without putting these things into specific perspective. Then we start getting lost on what's truly going to align with that future that we want.
Mm-hmm. I see. I'll take that advice. Mm-hmm. That's very true. Thank you so much. It was so, so inspiring and empowering at the same time. Keep doing a great job spreading all the awareness among healthcare workers. And I'm sure all this information is applicable for everyone, and many people can relate to this. It's important to spot when you have a burnout and be kind to yourself. And of course, practice healthy lifestyle. Where can the listeners find you?
I am very active on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me at my handle is my phone name, Sabrina Runbeck. And feel free to check out my website for any of the programs that I've been running, events, and it's at sabrinarunbeck.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I hope we'll keep in touch.
Yes.